Surviving 100 days in Minecraft Dragonfire. I have 100 days to complete 2 impossible objectives. 1. Find and raise 5 level 100 Furies, including the all-new Flame and Water Fury. 2. Eliminate the Fire Nation off my server once and for all. Do I have what it takes to survive 100 days of Minecraft Dragonfire? Stay tuned to find out what happens next. On day 1, we spawned into a brand new world and there was dragons everywhere. We opened our satchels and found out what eggs we got. I got a Silva and Sharky got a catastrophic Quaken. Then we started farming for some materials to get ourselves going. And we also found a village. We decided to stay there for our first night and started killing some animals for some food. We mined and got some stuff for the furnace, made some charcoal, and Sharky went and killed some sheep for wool, made us beds while I was farming. And then we called it a day. On day 2, we decided to go mining. We upgraded our tools and found some iron. While we cooked our iron, Sharky made an animal pen while I went to find some animals to put into it. We're gonna need a lot of raw meat to start making treats to level up our dragons. On day 3, we wanted to hatch our dragons, so we needed a dragon egg incubator. We made some iron pickaxes and armor plates and headed to the mines. We found lots of ores, but more importantly, we found diamonds. We made some diamond pickaxes and made some obsidian and mined it. We left the mine, went back to our base, made our dragon egg incubator and upgraded it to a tier 2 straight away. We realized we had no lava left, so we went to bed, getting ready to hatch our dragons the next day. On day 4, it was time to hatch our dragon eggs. I made a couple of extra iron buckets and headed down to the mine to find some lava. I started to incubate my Silva egg, but realized I probably would need more lava for Sharky to hatch his dragon egg. Once the incubator was full, it was time to hatch my Silva egg. It hatched as a female and I was excited to name it. I started to call it Sylvia, but then instead called it Brownie. Let me know in the comments which one you like better. I fed Brownie her treats while Sharky's egg was incubating, and once his was ready to hatch, it was a girl too! He named his Queenie, and the size difference between our dragons was hilarious. On days 5 to 10, we realized how much we needed dragons that could fly, so we started our hunt for bones. We used the towers around us to find skeleton spawners and fought them for a while to get some bones. We also came across a myth dragon nest, but unfortunately because it spawned in the tower, there was no egg. We decided to kill a load of animals on our farm so we'd be able to make dragon treats. We did that for 5 days to level up our dragons so they could fly. I made 64 treats in total and split them between us. With that amount of treats, it meant our dragon changed from a baby to an adolescent, and soon they were able to fly. So now that we have flying dragons, days 11 and 12 were spent searching for Night Fury eggs. We found some random eggs first, a Thunderdrum, a Storm Stratus, and a Nightbringer, and we found a Night Fury temple, but we're totally not ready for that yet. We eventually found 3 out of the 5 Night Fury nests that we were gonna need in the savannah, but while searching for those 2 more, we found a Fire Nation outpost. This is the first time we've seen the Fire Nation on the server so far. We went inside, but we were totally not ready for what we found. Fire Nation soldiers, and they were protecting their camp. We had to fight through them, and actually, I nearly died and had to jump in the water. But when we went back up, we had a look around, but the camp was starting to go on fire. We had to grab the items from the chest really quickly, which was really cool because we found part of a broken map and some other cool bits. We decided to get out of there and spent the day 13 traveling back to our base. On days 14 and 15, we decided to spend it in our camp. We got to work on a Night Fury area at camp with all the bits that we got from our last mission. We fed our animals to keep the supply up for treats, tons of chickens, one escaped, so I had to kill him. Then I had to decide how to make the Skelly farm more efficient. I got to work mining and then began making a tunnel to easily kill the Skelly, so we had a steady supply of bones for our dragon treats, but it was pretty much a failure and I need to get hoppers. While I was doing that, Sharky wanted to build a baby Fury pen to house our baby Night Furies. We hatched our 3 Night Fury dragon eggs into the night and next day and put them in their pens. On days 16 and 17, we still needed 2 more Fury eggs, so we set off on a hunt for them. We flew around for a while until we spotted a redwood biome. It had huge tall trees and it was so cool to fly into. It was so different from other biomes. We needed parts from there in order to get the rare Forest Fury, so we decided to start our hunt for that. We landed and searched around for some Ents. They have a chance of dropping forest shards. They're kind of like tree warriors and they're really difficult to fight and take a decent amount of damage off. We needed to kill them and gather 8 forest shards to get our forest stone. It took ages to find and we had to fight into the night. We fought a few and no signs of shards dropping, but eventually we got on a roll and collected all 8 shards. Next up, we knew we needed to find a bearkin. We knew that we needed to find an obelisk, and luckily there was one just outside the redwood forest. We spawned in the bearkin, and to be honest, he was pretty easy to beat. Me and Sharky kind of powered through him, and then he dropped the forest essence, and this is exactly what we needed along with the shards to get our forest stone. The next morning we flew to find a Fury temple so we could craft the stone. When we got there, it was really cool and big, and there was also a cool statue inside. We combined the shards with the essence and boom! We got the forest stone that we needed. We were so excited, and then we headed back to base so we could feed it to our Fury. When we got back, we headed up to Sharky's new dragon pen to give the stone to Forest, our female Fury. We had made plenty of dragon treats spare previously, so we fed that to Forest first to make sure she was nice and big before we fed her the stone. When we did not expect what we saw. It was so awesome. The Night Fury turned into a Forest Fury and it was so epic. I can't believe it was that cool, and we're so excited to make the other 4 Furies. This was definitely one of my favorite 2 days yet out of the 100 days of Dragonfire. The next morning I said hi to Bob and I made a bow and arrow. I went mining and a baby zombie attacked me. Not today, baby zombie, not today. I went to check what Sharky was doing, and he'd fixed our skelly farm and added in some hoppers. We then decided to take Forest on her first adventure and search nearby lands to the north of our base. We found a jungle and we were hoping to find a storm falcon nest, but there was only a forest falcon. Then we found a second Fire Nation camp. They're getting closer and closer to our camp, which is worrying. We needed to go and investigate. We fought them off and smashed the spawners. Unfortunately, we didn't find a piece of the map that we need to ultimately make the Flame Fury, as the parts that we need are in the Fire Nation dimension and we need to find our way there. We decided to leave signs all around this camp to show the Fire Nation who the real boss is. We named ourselves the Lotus Nation, big shock. We headed back to secure our defenses. We're kind of nervous of the Fire Nation approaching closer and closer by the day. We decided to wall in our village and make ourselves look like a real dragon nation. So in the next few days we gathered up lots of materials and built ourselves a real dragon nation. As you can see, we only made it about a quarter way around the village, so this is going to be a work in progress. We also added a touch of home for our Forest Fury by using some of the redwood logs that we had picked up to make an artificial redwood tree. Forest seems at home in her pen, and also Brownie came to join. I think they might be best friends. After spending a few days fortifying our new dragon nation, we made new armor and set off on a hunt for the final 2 Fury eggs we need. As you guys know, our plan is to find the 5 Furies, so we still have a lot of work to do to get them all. We searched what we felt like an eternity, and we eventually found our last 2 Fury eggs. Now that we have all 5 Fury eggs, we decided to head back to base and put a plan together on how to achieve the final 5 Furies. Bob was there to greet us. We decided to take an early night and organize our chests inside our room. Little did we know, while we were doing that, 3 Fire Nation soldiers came into the camp and stole our incubator and our villager roommate Bob. It was Sharky who noticed that Bob wasn't home, so we went outside to see if we could find him. That's when we noticed the signs that the Fire Nation left. They had stolen our incubator and, more importantly, our roommate Bob. Obviously we couldn't let this happen, so we had a look around. They couldn't have gotten too far. We looked around until we finally found a nether portal in the woods and decided to go through it. There was a whole lot of mobs in there, including a ghast, but we took it out pretty easily. Eventually we found Fire Nation soldiers. We knew Bob had to be nearby, but we had to take them out first. We got through them and rushed to Bob's rescue. He had the incubator on him, so everything was all good. We went back to the camp and put everything back in its place, and now we can hatch our final 2 Fury eggs. For day 24, we stayed at our base just in case the Fire Nation wanted to return and retaliate for stealing Bob back from them. We continued to build our wall to protect our nation, and we're making some very good progress. We fed some of our animals, and I'm not quite sure how that horse ended up in there. We had to kill a few too. Sorry, not sorry, because we got to add to our dragon tree chest to get ready for our future Furies. Nighttime crept in real fast, so we hit the hay so we could wake up early and get a head start on the next day. On day 25, we incubated our final 2 Night Fury eggs and hatched them. We named them and placed them into our Fury pen. It's a great start, but we still have so much work to do. The next Fury on the list is the Storm Fury. We're gonna need a Storm Falcon dragon to take DNA from, so we found its nest and took the egg. For some reason, Queenie and Forest don't get along. Run, Forest, run! I went to go set my egg to incubate, but wait! I need a water incubator! No, that means we need ice! So I crafted the enchantment table while Sharky got books together. While he was working on getting Silk Touch, I worked on getting more bones and raw meat for treats. Sharky then went through the enchantments until he got lucky and finally got Silk Touch. Now we just needed to find an ice biome. We set off on our first icy adventure with the hopes of being able to hatch the Storm Falcon. We found an old Christmas egg nest. It may not have been a biome, but we got as much ice as we could and headed back to the base. We made our water incubators and we were done for the day. On the start of day 26, we set our storm falcon to incubate. Then we went right onto our list for the science equipment. Lucky Sharky had already gathered what I needed for crafting. To start, we needed 2 DNA orbs. So I used mana, glass, and gold to craft those. Pretty simple. Next, we needed a DNA extractor. Another easy one. We combined 2 iron ingots and 1 gold ingot and a pair of shields to make our extractor. Then we moved on to the DNA combiner, where we need to craft the legs and the stand separately. Sharky already made the legs, so I just needed to add them to the redstone, iron ingots, and stone slab to make the DNA combiner. Only 2 pieces left to the puzzle. Firstly, the DNA incubator, then an iron egg. We made the first part the hammerhead using quartz and stone. Then the next part we used with blaze powder, a cauldron, and some wood. We quickly made an iron egg, and then my head was hurting, so it was time for bed. We started off day 27 by hatching our storm falcon and named it Stormzy, such a cutie. We decided to level up Flame, our night fury, to 100 first and realized we would need a lot more treats for our storm falcon. But we would take the DNA from the Night Fury first anyways. We put the orbs into a chest for safekeeping, and the next 3 days we spent farming our animals and Skelly Farm to make as many dragon treats as we could in order to make our hybrid Storm Fury. We even had to hunt for more meat outside of our own nation, and then the unthinkable happened. The Fire Nation snuck back in and attacked our base. And they stole Flame, our level 100 Night Fury. When we got back and realized it from the banners that were placed, we decided to sleep, and then tomorrow would bring war. Today was the day we set on our mission to get Flame, our level 100 Night Fury, back from the Fire Nation. So we started by making all new diamond armor and weapons for our battle. We flew around the server on the hunt for any sign of Flame or the Fire Nation. We found a camp, but it seemed to be deserted, although the lizard people attacked. We fought them off, and Queenie even managed to get one. She got rewarded nicely by Sharky. We decided to not head home and spend the night at a camp we made from bits we stole from the Fire Nation. The next evening we found them in what looked like a huge Fire Nation base. We flew into the hill behind them and then waited for nightfall to attack. It's now or never. We rushed the first camp. There were Fire Nation soldiers, mages, and even huge lava golems. We destroyed the spawners and stormed the next camp. They were putting up a good fight, but not as good as us. We wanted Flame back and we'd do anything to get him. We finally defeated the third camp, then it was time to break Flame free. He was fast asleep, so it doesn't seem like the soldiers heard him. We freed him and spent the last day traveling back to the Lotus Nation with our level 100 Night Fury. On day 34, now that we had Flame back, we decided we needed to continue our mission of the 5 Furies. We finished off our wall for a stronger defense, seeing as the Fire Nation were able to sneak in. We even made a little banner of our own so they'll be scared. The Lotus Nation! Then we went to bed. I said goodnight to Sharky and I tucked myself in. On day 35, we killed some skellies in our skeleton farm. I honestly think that skeletons are my least favorite mob. So annoying. We continued farming outside of the base into the night and got all the meat we needed to get our Storm Falcon to level 100. Sharky accidentally hit his storm cutter, which caused some chaos, but we took it out. Time for bed. Science is happening in the morning. On day 36, we used everything we got the previous day and made dragon treats. We leveled up our Storm Falcon to level 100 and it was very oddly satisfying. We extracted the DNA and started the hybrid process. We put both DNA orbs into a DNA combiner along with the iron egg, and once the iron egg was ready, we transferred it into a DNA incubator. It took a while, but eventually the egg was good to hatch. We took it outside and boom! Our all-new Storm Fury hybrid dragon. How cool! We named her Stormy, and she's very cute, but if you think we should call her something different, let us know in the comment section. So far, after 35 days, we have a Forest Fury, a level 100 Night Fury, soon to be Flame Fury, and a Storm Fury. Not bad. We decided to chill in our nation with our Furies tonight and take the night off. Days 36 to 40 were interesting to say the least. We noticed our animal livestock were getting smaller and smaller every day, even though we were feeding them. Even the mysterious horse that was in with the sheep had disappeared. We decided to keep watching the first night, and nothing. We didn't see a thing, so we decided to go to bed. We woke up the next day and all but one cow was left. We asked the cow what happened, but he wasn't talking. Whatever killed his friends must have really spooked him. We took a position up at our base that we could watch over our last cow without spooking off whatever keeps killing it. Boom! In comes a wild nadder. He must be what's killing the animals. We go to it, fight it, and it was an extremely close call. Sharky ended up killing our last cow in a panic, and I sent him to his room for it, because come on, it was our last cow. We needed to rethink of our animal pens because all of these wild dragons were just killing them, so we got to work. We spent the next 2 days building all new pens for our animals, including an all new design to keep those pesky dragons away. Day 41 started with a bang. Legitimately, Sharky nearly died from a creeper who snuck up behind him. I probably should have helped. We set off on our hunt for the Water Fury. We know very little about this dragon as it hasn't even been released in the mods update yet, but we flew over the ocean to see what we could find. Lo and behold, we found a water obelisk, but there was no point in facing that right away. It was getting dark, so we decided to set up camp. The next day, we fought jellyfish and saw that they dropped jelly. We figured we'll need this to craft a water stone eventually, so start collecting as much as we can of that. We searched the ocean floor just to see what we could find, and eventually I came up against a shark. The shark just almost killed me, but I made it out. We are definitely gonna need more supplies and potions to face this task. But we got a shark tooth and some jelly, so it wasn't a complete failure. We started our 43rd day by feeding our animals. We still needed to breed them more after the Nather had them as a snack. As we were in our room gathering supplies to attempt the Water Fury mission again, our roommate villager Bob came in a panic. He seemed totally terrified and hid behind the bed. We went outside and used the mob tower to get a good view, and we were shocked at what we saw. The Fire Nation soldiers had us surrounded! We spent the next few days making arrows, golden apples, and preparing for the inevitable attack. And on the 46th night, it happened. The Fire Nation soldiers came flooding over the wall. We released our dragons to help us fight, but Flame decided it was a great time for a nap. Sharky and I defended our nation with everything that we had. I went up to the baby Fury pen to protect them, but the battle got way more intense. But little did we know that little Stormy would come to our aid and help us fight. We fought, and Sharky was really taking some damage, but eventually, we won! Our last foe was a huge lava golem. Once we had him finished, we took a breath and took it all in. We saw all the damage to our nation. We did manage to stop their attack, but looks like some of our chickens got out. Time to make some minor repairs and get some rest. The following 3 days after the attack, we didn't leave the base. We had a lot of repairs to do after that epic battle against the Fire Nation. We tore down the Fire Nation camps just outside the walls. We didn't need reminding of that battle. Then we stood guard over our nation until we felt it was safe again to leave it. Now that we're past day 50 and still have 3 Furies left to get, we knew it was time for the Water Fury. We knew we would need water breathing potions to survive the ocean biome and the sharks. I fished for pufferfish while Sharky got nether warts and a brewing station together. We crafted the water breathing potions and then set off once again for the Water Fury. We arrived into the ocean biome and again we started killing the sharks. While the potions definitely helped, it was still pretty tricky and they surrounded us, but we got all the shark teeth that we needed. Since we have everything that we need now, we went back to the water obelisk and we spawned in the giant hermit crab boss and we fought it. It wasn't too difficult, but we realized when we killed it, it dropped water essence, but it didn't drop crab legs. We still need to find crabs. We had a look around and found them spawned in on some surrounding beaches and took them out. Eventually, we had everything we finally needed for our Water Fury. But it did take us nearly 2 days of flying to find a Fury Temple to use. But once we did, we made our Water Stone. We spent just over a day getting back to our base, but we did not waste any time in creating our all-new Water Fury. We leveled up our baby Fury first, and then gave it to the Water Stone. Wow, it's like one of the best dragons yet. It looks amazing. The Water Fury is so cool. Now that we finished that, it's time for bed. On day 55, we realized we made a boo-boo. Yes, a mistake. We hatched more Night Fury eggs than we needed. So we came up with a plan to level up the extra ones and use them as guards over our nation while we were away. We spent the next 5 days gathering meat and bones to make dragon treats. It's boring and tedious, but it had to be done. I did find this silver egg though while I was killing chickens. And this silly cow tried to escape from me and nearly got me killed. I managed to get the cow and get away with my life. Eventually, we had enough to level both our baby Furies up to protect our nation. We built towers for them to stand on and to keep guard, high enough to see the entire nation and the surrounding areas. Well, Guess which one was Sharky's build? Well, after all of that, it was time for some sleep. Man, am I tired in this dragon world. We woke up and it was day 61 and we meant business. We made some golden apples and replaced our broken weapons and armor with some new ones. Our new mission, to find the Fire Nation outposts and find the 2 missing pieces of the map to the Fire Nation dimension. It was time for Flame to become a Fire Fury. So that's what we did. We spent days flying and fighting Fire Nation soldiers. Outpost after outpost, we found 1 piece of the map that we needed, and then we only needed 1 more. As I was flying, I saw a dragon I had never seen before. The Archangel Dragon. I just had to stop and get the egg. It was so cool. Then we went back to outpost hunting. Honestly, this took so long, but finally we found the 1 last piece that we needed. We decided to go back to the base. Once we were there, I put the map back together again and boom, there it is, the location to the Fire Nation dimension. But it's too late for that today. I am tired and it's time to hit the hay. As I was looking through the chests the next day, I noticed we didn't have the skull fossil that we would need to make the Bone Fury. That totally slipped my mind. So we had to go mining. I mined for some other ores too, like lapis and gold, because we were gonna need to make DNA orbs. But when we found some fossils, I was ecstatic. We broke through them all, but yet no skull. No luck, and it was going to be the next 2 days of searching even more. Eventually, we found it! And I was so excited to go back to our science room and put together a Bone Fury. First, we put together the full fossilized skeleton. Then we went and took DNA from our trusty level 100 Flame. Then we went back to the science room, put it all together in the combiner, into the incubator, and voila! A Bone Fury egg! We were so excited to hatch this one, and I thought it was going to be a girl and Sharky thought it was going to be a boy. When we hatched it, it turns out it was a male, and we named it Bonesy. Now we have 4 out of the 5 dragons we need, and the pens are looking really full. We are gonna have to expand that at some stage when they start growing. But now, it's my favorite time, nap time! Day 70 to 80. This is it. The final bit of preparation before we take on the Fire Nation in their own dimension. We spent 10 whole days getting ready and training. First up were the Cobra Swordsmen. They would be pretty close to the Fire Nation soldiers, so good training. Next was the Frog Warriors, and that was a super close call because of the mage. We even went as far as going into the Nether and starting a fight with zombie pigmen. Sharky had to run for his life, but we were okay in the end. A little out of breath though. We went and mined for lapis. We were going to need to enchant all of our weapons and armor in preparation for this battle. We needed every help we could get. We practiced our hand-to-hand combat in our new PvP arena we built. Sharky got scared and ran away. This is not a good sign. We fed our animals for quite possibly the last time, which was super sad. And we even found a random horse sheep that we put back in with his family. Aww. We decided to make an orb storage system and house all of our Furies for safety while we were gone, just in case. We checked in on our guard Furies, made sure the back gate was closed, and now that all of that was done, it was time to get some sleep because we had a huge battle ahead of us. Day 81, it was the big day. We woke up early and gathered all our things. We grabbed the Fire Nation map and jumped straight in. It was way scarier than we thought. Flame forests, ashlands, smoldering wastelands. The dimension is bigger and more dangerous than we ever imagined, and we were faced with soldiers and lava golems straight away. But we started off on our mission to find the Fire Nation Colosseum. We came across new mobs like the Magma Spider, yikes! And then we stumbled across this, a Fire Nation battle tower. We didn't know what was inside, but it didn't look good. So naturally, we ate a golden apple and went in. We battled all the way up through each floor, collecting all the items and loot that we could. When we reached the top floor, it was totally overwhelming. But we did it, cleared the place, but there was no sign of a Colosseum from up here. It is pretty safe because it's high up, so we decided to spend our first night here. The next day, we went off again on our search, and the next few days were very like our first. Battle towers and scary mobs, but still no sign of a Colosseum. Then finally, on day 86, we found it. The Fire Nation Colosseum, with a scary obelisk inside. We hit the obelisk and we summoned the Cerberus. This terrifying creature comes out, the leader of the Fire Nation itself. We have a ferocious battle, weaving in and out of the pillars so the Cerberus can't eat me. This 3-headed thing is so scary. Eventually, when I was running to hide and regain some health, Sharky dealt the final blow. And we won! We killed the Cerberus and defeated the Fire Nation once and for all. Or at least we think we did. Best of all, he dropped the fire essence and his head that we could use as a trophy. We were finally ready to leave the fire dimension, thank goodness. We went back to our own base and hit the hay for some well-deserved rest. We woke up with one task in mind, make the firestone. But of course, I had to place my trophy down first, very proud. We surrounded the fire essence with crystal diamond shards and boom, there it is, the flamestone. We agreed at the very beginning that Sharky and I would not change our last fury until all of our dragons were level 100, so we got to work making the final stack of treats. Then finally, on day 93, we did it. All of our furies were at level 100, but there was only one last thing to do. Bones, storm, water, forest, and flame. It was time to give Flame the flamestone. And wow, look at that transformation. We actually did it and we achieved our goals by day 93. I cannot believe how close it was. But all of this emotion is totally overwhelming and I need to take a nap. Our last few days in our nation, we built the Furies their very own pens. We have achieved incredible feats during our 100 days and we hope you guys loved the video. If you want to get the Dragonfire mod yourself, the Patreon link is in the description. And if you want to see another 100 days in Dragonfire or any kind of Minecraft, be sure to like this video and subscribe. Leave a comment below for your favorite Fury, guys. And don't forget, Lotus Nation for life.